Haircut.
How I looking? I'm looking good. We don't read books anymore. Only dumb people read books. Smart people watch Rebel Moon. Now we have to name the worst movie of 2024. Before we can talk about any of the good and I can do any introduction, we have to get the bad out of the way first. There were a lot of contenders. I gave 7 movies a 1 out of 10 last year, so we'll just run through those. The first of these movies was Uglies. It was very funny within the first minute of the movie when the info dump starts and there's no end in sight. I was like, ooh, I'm too sober for this. Borderlands, I don't think I watched this. Venom 3, ooh, this one sucked. The main villain of this movie is like a scam. This is like a scam movie, and then the ending is like a YouTube poop. The whole movie, there's only one rule, which is if he turns into Venom, he will be hunted down and killed. And the whole movie, Venom's like, oh yeah, I can't turn into Venom. If I turn into Venom, I'm going to die. He's like, Mrs. Chen, it's time for a dance. And then he turns into Venom immediately, and then he starts dancing with this coffee shop owner, and then his house immediately gets blown up. Incredible. The Idea of You, this was the one that people were saying was good because it was self-aware. I think Red, White, and Royal Blue was much, much funnier, so if you want to see this actor's tight face, then go watch that instead. Drive Away Dolls, this was a headache movie that was sort of actively insisting on its own transgressiveness. Oh my god, guys, we have lesbians in this movie. Whoa! If this movie came out 30, 40, 50 years ago, then it might be transgressive. Nowadays, it's extremely obnoxious to pretend that this movie is like some ahead-of-the-curve representation. Margaret Qualley's embarrassing in this, but it's not her fault. There are a few moments where the movie rips off The Big Lebowski. I wonder who directed this. I hated the music in this too. I'm sure a lot of the actors got sent the script and they're like, oh, the Coen brothers are making a new movie? Yes, I'll sign on to this. And then they read further and they went, oh, it's just the one Coen brother? Okay, well, you know, Tragedy of Macbeth was good. And then they saw the movie at the premiere and they went, oh, it was the other Coen brother. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Rebel Strikes Back. This was awful. The heroes have to save the universe again, and Zack Snyder has to save the worst movie of his career until now. But the very tip of the iceberg, the worst film, in my opinion, this year was Incoming, starring the Black Phone. The only interesting thing in this movie is that someone rips a Nang in it. I thought Nangs were an Australian-only innovation, like a cultural difference, so it's interesting to see the effects of globalization. I remember one year, the Razzies nominated a 10-year-old for Worst Actress, and then they started to get hate for that, and they deleted the nomination. Fucking cowards. They should nominate every single performance from this movie. These actors cannot coast on being young when they're giving performances like this. That main character's sister, that is a performance for the ages. Put the fear of God in them. They cannot be allowed to keep doing this. This is a very rare movie with 0 original ideas. This movie isn't wearing its influences on its sleeves. The influences are driving the car for it, and the movie is sucking the influences. This whole movie felt like Roadhead for Superbad, Sex Education, American Pie. Oh, what else came out this year? A Complete Unknown was 6 hours long. Everybody shit on Megalopolis even though nobody saw it. Kieran Culkin is gonna win an Oscar for playing himself. It Ends With Us ended in a lawsuit. Challengers was loud. Trap wasn't that bad. Emilia Perez was very funny and worse than Trap, but Zoe killed it. Longlegs was expecting us to be scared of Nicolas Cage looking like the Michael Sheen vampire in Twilight. Yeah, very good. A movie I want to give as kind of an honorable mention that I didn't even like is something called Caught by the Tides. This is a movie made up of both used and unused footage from the director's previous movies that have been edited together to make a new movie. Those of you who know me know that I love boring shit. It's my cup of tea. This movie is willfully boring and abstract and, like, aggressively annoying. The director uses his own foundations to talk about China's modernity and its endless kind of changing and what it's leaving behind. But it's incredibly hard to watch. I nearly walked out, like, 2 or 3 times in the first 40 minutes. But by the end, I was like, I've seen something genuinely unique and genuinely interesting, so I wouldn't recommend you see it, but it is great. Here are some honorable mentions for actual good movies I saw this year. Shout out to Snails, shout out to Hippos, shout out to Sebastian Stan and that mustache on Count Orlok. Now on to my actual top 10 movies of 2024. Oh! At number 10 on my list, we have Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat. This is a documentary surrounding the circumstances that led to the assassination of Lumumba, who was the first Congolese premier after Belgian independence. This movie is a kind of ADHD medication. If you are the kind of person who watches a documentary and you start fidgeting, or you get bored during the talking head section, expectations, then this is absolutely a movie for you. There are about a million different pieces of footage, some of them played absolutely nonsensically, and there's just jazz fucking playing over everything. This is a chaotic rabbit hole, and you will need a nap when you finish it, as I did. The next movie on my list is Girl with the Needle. I've talked about this movie in a previous video for the Sydney Film Festival. I really love this one. It looks amazing. It's the best looking movie of the year. The black and white is eerie and wonderful. The music is amazing. The scary woman in it is very scary. That's a great performance. I think the ending of this movie is overlong and bad, and there's a better ending in the editing room, but I think what the movie is saying about the society of the time and the way it's kind of using women to speak on the patriarchy is something... I think it's interesting to dissect this movie, even though it might seem a little bit odd. It's got like an odd theme to it. But I found a lot of it very good and very disturbing. At number 8, we have Conclave. I am shocked that I liked this as much as I did. A lot of this is very Oscar baity. A lot of it is very predictable, except for those last 10 minutes. Yahoo, good luck predicting that. I thought the moments where religion is the subject of a conversation, like when Ray Fiennes is delivering his speech to the college, I thought all of that was phenomenal. I'm allowed one dad movie a year, and this is mine for this year, so fuck you. At number 7 on my list is Hard Truths. This was my most hyped movie of the year because Mike Leigh is a top fiver, he's a GOAT, and this movie was utterly depressing. I did not find a single second of this movie particularly funny. I thought it was all devastating, and the ending just reinforces that. I don't care what my honey Lee says. This is a movie about post-COVID, and it's not a movie about the struggle to connect. It's about this like addiction to isolation. After all of the Karen scenes at the beginning, the main actress Jean-Baptiste becomes utterly unbelievable. Like, I cannot believe a human can emote like this. Mike Leigh is just coming over to abuse me again. Thanks, honey. Next on the list, we have Dune 2. It's a little too long on a rewatch. The music is very loud. There's some kind of nihilism that creeps into the movie at some points that makes it very hard to relate to the characters. But I watched this in IMAX at the back, in the box, with my mates, and I had a cheeseburger, and I was just utterly stuffing my face, and it was the best thing ever. I love the change to the book's ending too. The ending of the book and the original movie is like, history will call us wives. Shitty ending. The ending of this one is much better, and it leaves me way more interested in a sequel. So yeah, you gotta make sure to smash a cheeseburger while you watch it though. That's how I experienced it, and it was the greatest experience. The next movie on my list is Look Back. As the anime connoisseur I am, this was of course a very fine work. These are the names of some of the anime movies and TV released this year. Bang Dream, Spring Sunshine, Lost Cat. Gushing Over Magical Girls. Dead Dead Demons, DDDD Destruction, Parts 1 and 2. And Detective Conan, The $1 Million Pentagram. That's an actual good title. Having said that, even though Look Back is of a genre that I do not like, I thought this was very good and very sad, and it said a lot in just an hour, and everybody should see it. The next one is La Cucina. Ooh, I love La Cucina so much! This lead guy in this movie is absolutely fearless. He plays this like immature dreamer with so much physicality, and there's so many fun supporting characters who really feel like they're living and cooking in this world. Everything feels very high stakes, and it feels very authentic. There's a 10-minute one take where Cherry Coke floods the kitchen while they're cooking. I don't know how they did that. And there's also a crazy ending with, let's just say, some very aggressive reincorporation that I actually really love. The visuals in this movie are reason enough to see this, and then there's enough of a plot and a point in this movie to drive it up to somewhere crazy. We're in a top 3 now. Number 3 was I Saw the TV Glow. There's one thing I don't like about this movie, which is Justice Smith, who has never been good ever, and he is very bad in this, but everything else in this movie is just perfect and has such an emotional presence for me. It looks gorgeous. The other lead performance is a year best for me. There's so many crazy visuals. The songs are great, and the way the plot just kind of detaches itself off from like logic is very good. The movie explored insecurity in just about every way it could without feeling preachy or like it was insisting on its own uniqueness like Drive Away Dolls did. It's not what I expected, but I loved it anyway. At number 2 on my list is Anora. Sean Baker, he keeps leveling up. He is one of the best directors ever by this point. Every single one of his last 3 movies have been like events to me, basically, and this one is just like a step up in so many ways. Everyone in this movie is great, but the easy standout is Karen Karagulian, who is hilarious as he develops new stress lines in real time. And my number 1 movie of the year, we know what it is. It is The Substance. I say lines from this movie daily. I say like, control yourself, and the Jurassic Fitness. I say that like every day. This became my #1 movie when I saw the behind-the-scenes clip of the director holding a blood hose and running around and laughing as she douses a Hollywood cast that are sitting in tiered seating. Demi better win that Oscar, please and thank you. This is the #1 movie of the year. It's hilarious, and if you haven't seen it, do. And thank you so much. It is Nang time.